What I have found is that many men in this country suffer in silence. And so many times, what I hear from women is complaining about the little things in relationships or in life. And oftentimes, what I find is that men are belittled and put down by their wives across this country, and they just suffer in silence. Many men are in sexless marriages and they just suffer in silence. Many women were not raised to be wives or told what a wife is, and there are many men across this country paying the price. Now, I decided to ask the question on Twitter for how do women demasculate men? I asked men, what are some of the ways you have felt disrespected in a relationship that your significant other may not be aware of? Now, I'm going to read you guys the most liked comments. So when I ask questions on Twitter or any social media app, what I find is there's many patterns in relationship. Many people think that their problems in a relationship are unique, but oftentimes they are not. So the number one complaint that men had of how women disrespect them in a relationship, I want you guys to guess in the chat. I want you guys to guess. Now, this was not surprising to me, knowing how bad women are on social media about sharing everything about their relationship. The number one complaint from men is disclosing too much to your female friends. It's us first, not your gossip group. Being asked to go to marriage counseling, she proceeds to talk about everything that I was doing wrong, and so did the counselor. When I finally looked at her and said, "What are the things you are doing wrong?" she couldn't answer and looked shocked. Another man said I wasn't allowed to lead. Matt A said the biggest is ignoring you in a group and engaging with another man, sitting next to another man and not you. If that happens, don't lash out, just leave. It won't get better. Scott Patrick said going from a full-time nurse to working part-time to quitting and laying on the couch all day, watching cooking shows and talking to her mom on the phone. It's nice. They live together now. There's a woman who said she's not a man, but my former sister-in-law used to embarrass my brother at family gatherings. I recalled several times when someone would invite them to do X, Y, and Z, my brother would say he'd love to. And she would blurt out, "We can't do that. We're broke," in front of everyone. He worked 2 jobs at the time and made good money. She had opted to stop working to stay home with the kids. It made him feel like he wasn't doing enough, which led to resentment. She put the kids before their marriage at the point that the kids were sleeping in the room at 7 and 9 years old. And many nights he worked late. She fell asleep on the sofa and wouldn't come to bed when he got home. She was depriving his needs as well. And there were other issues, like if he wanted to go play pool or something once a month. With some friends, she would get pissy. But if she wanted a girls' night out, she had no problem going, and he would take care of the kids, no problem, stuff like that. He finally had enough of it, got involved with someone else, and ultimately they got divorced. When he told her he was moving out, she was genuinely shocked. She was completely unaware that her behavior had been the driving force. And by then it was too late. 27 years together, up in smokes. She's not a bad person. She just wasn't thinking about her actions, how her actions and words made him feel bad. So I always hear that women don't know what they're doing. And there's a lot of debate on this. Are women aware of what we're doing, or are we unaware? And the truth is, you're never really going to know when it comes to women. We can't know if they know, right? Like in this case. But men don't want to have to teach women how to be women. The same way women don't want to have to teach a man how to be a man. And so if we're in a situation where we are not performing the duties of a wife or we're demasculating our men, it is our responsibility to correct ourselves. It's not our husband's or our boyfriend's responsibility to correct us. It's our responsibility to correct ourselves. So I didn't know is not the get out of jail free card that we want it to be. When men don't know something and they make a poor decision, they have to deal with the consequence. But for some reason with women, if we make a poor decision, we use I didn't know as a get out of jail free card. Another answer was, at the time, it was more of a feeling than anything I did was going to be wrong. No move was right. If I did something without asking her, I got yelled at. If I waited for her to ask, I was inattentive. Learned helplessness is very powerful and compounded. Mostly, it came down to knowing how I felt on a matter and doing what she wanted anyway. In quotes, I want a dog. He said, I think that's a bad idea, and we have a 1 and a 3-year-old. I'm getting one anyway. Another answer was, and I was actually surprised. This was one of the top liked ones, so it was very highly commented or highly liked. I didn't know this was so common. It said she was watching home improvement shows like she was not thankful for what she had. Being volunteered for, and I see this a lot, being volunteered for something without the knowledge if plans have been made months and weeks in advance and I'm told 30 minutes before we're arranged to be there. So one way you can see who holds the power in a relationship is when you ask a couple a question, who answers first? Or if you want to make plans with a couple, who makes the plans? Who says yes or no? Does she say, let me ask my husband? By the way, one is not better or worse necessarily. One tends to, in my opinion, work better. But I think there's certain women that could not be with an assertive guy. They just wouldn't. I mean, you've seen them, like the female lawyers, the ball buster. They couldn't do it, right? So, and there's some men that could never be assertive. So have fun, be together, Asking for ladies' nights out 7 days a week. My ex, this is a big one. When women say my kids instead of our kids or his kids. My ex-wife made me feel like my kids were her kids, not mine. Gaius says, I told insert friend's name that we'd be going to their party. This is another thing that I've heard complaints from men on, is they don't want to have their entire weekend filled with all of these events. And many wives and girlfriends fill up their weekends with events, not asking them and expecting them to go. And if they don't go, they get mad. When men are much more naturally homebodies than women. And they're better with money, so they're not out spending it, Disclosing private information is hot gossip. Trying to lock you down while her past is extensive. He's just a friend. Unless a man is hitched, they're saying that she knows that she's being disrespectful. I don't know. It depends. Some women know, and some I think are so dumb that I'm like, I don't know. Okay, so I think I've shown you guys this video before, but I can always tell that a man has no frame in a relationship when his woman is posting all of their personal issues on the internet. The reason I can tell this is because men value privacy. And when a woman is posting, and in this case, an actual fight on the internet, that tells me she can do whatever she wants and he will let her get away with it. And you can see it in this video. Now, this video also, I think, is a common fight that couples have. So I want to use it as an example so we can learn something from it.
Hey, with you not being with me on Christmas, first, to ask if I would be okay with you not being with me on Christmas, first of all. Knowing how important that holiday is to me. And 2, going
So this is a couple
with your brother.
They do and also anyone that usually has a couple's content and I speak from experience to some extent. Any couple that has a couple's content or family YouTube channel where they're posting like their very young children, generally speaking, it's the woman running the show. Because does that sound like anything a man would want? Do you guys want your fights posted on the internet with your girlfriends? Yeah? No? Okay. So I'm going to play this video really quick.
To ask if I would be okay with you not being with me on Christmas, first of all. Knowing how important that holiday is to me. And 2, going somewhere with your brothers just without me to watch football. My feelings are extremely hurt.
Okay. I want us to think about this video in the context of a boss and an employee. Now, you may say, Pearl, relationships are different. Nowadays, it's 50-50. Nowadays, it's an equal partnership. Hey, if that's what you want to do, that's completely fine. But for people that want to be in more traditional relationships, in this dynamic, if your boss left to do something, you would have no say in what your boss does. Yet, women respect their bosses more than they respect their husbands. Even though their bosses give them a paycheck and their husband gives them a family, purpose, and children. One you would think is more important, but a boss can tell a woman no and she'll have to accept it. On the other hand, this ends up in an argument that comes onto YouTube. So she said he wants to, on Christmas Day, go watch a football game with his brother. She, on the other hand, wants him to spend quality time with the children. Now, I can understand wanting what you want on Christmas, but maybe that's something that he likes to do with his brother, and you can let the man enjoy his football game and spend time with the kids. He'll be back later. You know, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. Christmas has to go my way, or I'm going to overreact. And this is how women always get you guys. This is what they do. They overreact to a problem, and then you guys get tricked, and you can see him getting tricked into saving the day and thinking that he's doing something wrong. If he wants to go watch a game with his brother, there's nothing wrong with that. You might not like it, but you know who you're marrying, and you don't get to pull a 180 after you get married. If that's how he tends to spend Christmas, you're not supposed to go into a relationship trying to change people.
I'm sorry that your feelings are hurt.
I really thought you knew me better than that.
I'm hoping that we can talk and that I can gain a deeper understanding.
It's because
You see this? So now he's saying, oh, I hope we can talk. I hope I can gain a deeper understanding. When she's in the wrong. You're an adult woman. I don't know why you're crying because he wants to go watch football. It's a long day. Christmas is a long day. My family gets kind of bored at the end of the day. And how are you going to have and she's saying, I want quality time. Well, how are you going to have quality time if you're crying and nagging him about wanting to go watch football?
holiday means a lot to me. Quality time means a lot to me. Togetherness means a lot to me.
So again, is she thinking of herself or him? It's me, 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 me. This is the me, 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 me wife.
And so the fact that you'd rather be at a football game knowing, or I thought you knew that about.
I can't imagine why he wants to go to the football game. Can you guys imagine? It's interesting because what I see is sometimes men will leave a situation. They might go watch football with their friends. They might go play video games. And the women get offended because he's not spending more time with them. And instead of trying to figure out as women how we can be more likable and pleasant to be around so they want to spend time with us, we think the solution is to nag and cry. And unfortunately, it works. Do you see this? Do you guys think he went and watched the football game anyway? You think he grew a pair and said, deal with it, I'm going? Or do you think he gave her what she wanted because she started crying? Be honest. Be honest.
Your wife.
Sounds like Christmas is actually more important than me. And that's what it sounds like. Like you're saying, Christmas is important than my husband. I do not have a desire to do anything that will either hurt you or deride in any way your expectation for Christmas.
To ask if I would be okay with you.
Yeah. And now they go to the internet. And do women tell women, hey, let your man enjoy the football game? That's something he loves. Let him enjoy it. Or will the internet tell her that she is a poor victim and that she is in the right? What do you think happened? Okay, so the next example I found, we have two super chats on the website. If you guys do want a super chat, we can't hear, but you can on the website. Hey, Pearl, saw your appearance on Jubilee. You made a ton of great points. Of course, the comments are full of simps for the OnlyFans 304. No one wanted to address your great points. Thank you for saving lives. The reason why his girl's acting like this is because he lets too many things slide. He didn't check her early in the relationship. As men, you can't be afraid to piss your woman off. She'll walk all over you. Yeah. And as much as I have a lot of empathy because a lot of men do live in, I mean, it's tough, right? Once a guy gets married, he loses a lot by leaving. And a lot of men would rather take borderline abusive situations than leave. But I mean, this situation is because he again is allowing a woman's emotions to control him and allowing himself to constantly be fooled by women's crying. Okay, well, let me find the last one. Oh, okay. So the next thing, one thing that I have noticed that women do to emasculate men is that they will belittle the things that men love. So, for example, there was a conservative commentator named Liz Wheeler. Now, Liz Wheeler talks about politics, and you can see a lot of times these women, they tend to wear masks and they slip off occasionally. And what happened with Liz Wheeler is let me find the first one, had a status that went viral, and it said, the least attractive hobbies for men according to women. Number 1, playing video games. Number 2, collecting figurines. 3, magic tricks. 4, online trolling, gambling, building model trains, taxidermy, comic book collecting, and bird watching. For the unattractiveness score, the number 1 is video game. Well, I view men playing video games as a way they can let out their inner child. You know, my brothers, I don't really understand the games, but I mean, the men enjoy them, right? And they talk to their friends. They all roast each other. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I have no desire to play myself. But this is an issue I see with women. They nag and drone on about the things that men find fun and somehow make them problematic even when they're not. And you see this with video games. This is something I don't think I've ever met a guy that doesn't play video games, at least a little bit. I mean, I don't ask every guy, so I wouldn't know, but this is something that men like. And yet you have the conservative Christian commentators nagging the internet about something that is a genuine joy for many men. I'm not saying that you should do that instead of work, but women use social media and they ruin their family with it. They leave their husband, they post their arguments on the internet, and nobody cries about how social media is ruining women. But yet somehow video games are the root cause of all male laziness, or school shootings are often blamed on this stuff. And I just don't buy it. I think it's a way for people to undermine something that men have a tendency to love. Yeah, and so here was another comment from her. Gun violence isn't because of guns. We've had guns in our country forever, yet only in modern history do we have a spate of mass shootings. Why? Broken families, marijuana, mental health crisis, SSRIs, drug abuse, and violent video games. And this just doesn't match up to what I've seen in real life. I've seen my brother shoot people in the face online. I don't think he'd ever do that. I think they just like it because it's fun. But what it shows is, and as women, we wouldn't like it if they undermined our hobbies, right? I mean, what if you do yoga and the guy you're dating is constantly nagging you about doing yoga and belittling you about your new yoga hobby, your dance, or whatever basket weaving, pottery, whatever your more feminine hobby is that men don't really do or get. Phoenix Light Game says, to add to your point, Pearl, women don't like it when men enjoy themselves unless it benefits them, like video games. Unless women benefit from men's happiness and success, it's misogyny. Correct? Yeah, it's a video game, not real life. I mean, guys, social media ruins far more marriages than a video game. But I never hear the conservative commentators talk about that. I've seen women on TikTok divorce their husbands over social media comments. I've even asked friends how many fights they would have in their relationship if social media wasn't a thing. So I think it's important to hear from men about, from their perspective, what broke down a relationship as women. Because A lot of times men are silent and they do disqualify us for reasons and they may not tell us. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you like the video on your way out. Subscribe, and please, guys, go to theaudacitynetwork.com and sign up for our monthly memberships or our yearly one if you really want to support. We are demonetized, so you know it's a struggle. And then maybe we can get a guest in studio here if we get enough signups. A lot of people wanted me to bring Heidi on from Twitter. So I'm going to need, I don't know, maybe like 50 signups more if we want to get that. So it's kind of a lot, but if you guys put it together, who knows? Like the video, subscribe, guys, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you guys next time.